Hello friends, I am Hardik Patel. Welcome back to our Tech channel. In previous videos, we have learned about Python and Python related technologies. So you are all familiar with Python, how we can develop the program and develop the project. But we also should know how to debug that Python program because in most of the programs and most of the programming technologies, you must know how to debug because whenever you are writing any big program or a large project and in which you might need to find a very bad uh, portion of the program which you have to debug, right? Because without debugging you can't find, it's a very minor or a corner case, you cannot directly see and say that this is the problem. So in the most of the programmer's life, debuggers is the very helpful thing, right? So yeah, that's why I'm just going to explain that in this video. So let's get started. Here I have two panes of terminal where in left side I'll write one program. In fact, I have already done the program, so I'll just show you here. And in the second terminal, I will execute it, and we also debug that program using Python debugger. That is going to open interactive cell. So let's get into it. So you will be able to understand more while doing that. Okay. So I am just showing one program test.py. So I will say first thing that this program is not as efficient because I have just written this program for the understanding purpose how we can debug. So that's why I have just written this program lengthy. Even though we have very efficient and sophisticated libraries to get the file list, still I have written this lengthy program. Okay, so just for sake of understanding of debugging, that's why. Okay, so as you can see, there are two functions. One is file, which is just saying that if you give the path, it will check if this is a directory or not. So if that path is not directory, then it will return true because we are checking for the path is file or not, right? And the second function is actually the main function which we are going to execute from here, that get file list. So we are just going to give a directory and it will give you the files in the root portion, or I will say root of that particular directory. It will not go through the children directories. Okay, so it will just go up to one level only. So it will give you the files of one level of that particular directory. So yeah, also it should exclude the directories, right? So one directory can have multiple directories as well, so we need to neglect them or uh, ignore them and just need to get the list of files. All right, so you now understand is the program, right? So now I want to debug that get file list function. So how I will do that? First thing, that pdb is a, let me write import pdb. So pdb is a inbuilt package of Python which provides you to set a breakpoint, right? So just you need to write this one line, import pdb and then pdb dot set underscore trace. Okay, so let me save it now and let's execute it so you will understand that. Python test.py. All right, now it stops there, and as you can see, now we are at files is equal to get file list line of that program, right? So now whatever we can do here, that is different part. Let's first understand how we can get to it. There are three ways of doing that. So first way is of doing this import pdb, pdb.set trace, and it will open the Python interactive cell to see. So let me show you that. Now is file is also available. It will say that this is the function. Same way, get file list function is also available. Same way, os is also available. Why? Because we are here, and when we reach there, already these are already defined in the program, in the memory. So from that memory we can read it. Okay, so this is the one way of reaching this breakpoint. Now I will explain all the commands we can use here to debug the program, but before that I will show another way of doing that. So let me install another module, that is pip install ipdb. So what generally ipdb does? So ipdb is dependent on ipython. Okay, so interactive python, that is a third party package which will provide you IntelliSense. So you will be able to auto complete the object names or function names. So and you can also see the function definition. There are so many benefits of that particular interactive python shell, so you might know about that. Okay, so if you don't, please look at the documentation of ipython. All right, so now ipdb installed. Now what I need to do here, instead of pdb, just I need to write ipdb and here I. Okay, so just save it and now let's run the program. So as you can see here, now the cell is little bit different than the above one. So it was very simple, where you do not have autocomplete of the function name or variable name or any object. Okay, so right now as you can see here, if I write is and if I press tab button multiple times, it will show you that how many variables or any kind of object is available or not. Okay, so is file function is available. So if I print like this, right, so that way you can know how many objects are available here, if any instance is available or not. Okay, so as you can see, let me give you another example, that os dot, and if I press tab button multiple times, you will see there are multiple functions are available for this os module, right? Okay, so now let me close this and let me continue. So now as you know, this is second way. Now the third way is available only in the python version 3.7 or the latest version of the python, so greater than or equal to 3.7. okay, so what you need to do in that case, that is you just need to call breakpoint function like this, very simple. So instead of importing PDB or IPDB and just calling that function set trace, breakpoint does it the same for you. Okay, so it will import the PDB and then it will set trace. So basically it does the same thing, but the benefit of this breakpoint function calling, I will show you that. Let me save this program first. Okay, and if I run the python test.py, it will stop where we have written breakpoint function. Okay, now I'm continuing it for time being, and let me show you one thing, that is export and python breakpoint is equal to 0. So if you set this python breakpoint environment variable to 0, it will disable the debugging. Okay, so now if you run this python test.py, it will not stop there wherever you have written this breakpoint function. Okay, now as you can see, it is gone. It don't stop because we have stopped that debugging. Now if you want to disable the debugging, so for that what you have to do, that you just need to unset this environment variable. So for that you just write unset and then python breakpoint and enter. Now if you run the same program, it will stop there where you have written breakpoint function. Okay, so all right, so now we know how we can stop there, how we can put the breakpoints. There are three ways. One is PDB, second is IPDB, and third is breakpoints. I will recommend using breakpoint, and if you want to use interactive python ipython console, then definitely you have to go for IPDB. And if you want to set the multiple breakpoints in your program and you want to disable or enable from the outside of that program, then I will recommend breakpoint, because it allows you to set this python breakpoint 0 or unset that, so that way you can enable or disable debugging to the program. All right, so now we have enabled the program, enabled the debugging, and now let's go to the debugging. Okay, let me continue, let me clear this cell. Now let's run it. Okay, so now we are in the PDB cell. I will show you so many commands here, so you will be able to debug the program very efficiently. So first command is p. So basically, what is p? So if p is for printing the variable, or you can say expression. Okay, so if I give the expression is file, so which is a function, so it will print the is file function name. Okay, so same way this is not required, because directly also you can write the variable name or object name, it will print, but p is a command which is provided by pdb. So there is another command provided by pdb, that is pp, which is pretty print. Okay, so sometimes you have dictionary or those kind of objects, those for those kind of variables you will get the help from this pp. Okay, or maybe there are complex projects, complex objects which you want to print pretty, for that purpose also you can use this pp. All right, so this is the very basic command which maybe you use or not, because this is file is directly printable. All right, but pp is might be helpful in some cases. All right, now if you want to go through all the codes, walk through the codes, how can you do that? So currently I am at the point of files is equal to get file list function. So if I do n, there are two commands, next and step. So directly you can write next next as well as step, or you can use the initial of those word, that n and s. N is for step over and s is for step into. Now as you can see, we are here, and basically our whole program is going to execute in this function. So I would like to step into that function. So for that purpose, what I need to give the command, that is s. So if I enter write the s and hit the enter button, it will take you to the get file list function. All right, so now as you can see, dir path is there as an argument. So one more command I would like to say here, that is a, which will tell you how many arguments are provided while calling this function. Okay, so as you can see, dir path was just dot right here. All right, so now let's go and step over the lines. So if I hit the n and just enter, so what it does, it go to the second line. So path is equal to os list directory dir path. Okay, again hit n, it will take you to the next line. Same way, now let me tell you another thing which is very helpful. After hitting n, and if you enter without entering any command, it will always take the previous command automatically. So as you can say, in the previous time I just entered n, and if I don't write n and still I enter the command, it will take you to the next line. Okay, now this is for n and s. Let me go through one more time, that is file is another function in which I want to step into. So just write the s and enter. So as you can see, now we are in isFile function. Okay, so that way you can walk through the program. Now if I want to continue the program and I don't want to stop anywhere, so just write the C button and enter. So it will go through all the lines and execute whole the program, until and unless if you have written another breakpoint somewhere in the next execution process. Okay, so these are the commands, very basic commands. Now let's go and see how we can see or add the breakpoints into the program while debugging. So now run again this test.py. Now we are here. Now what I want to do here, that I just want to put a breakpoint here in this return statement, and also I want to add the condition to that. So what you need to do, you have another command that is called b, or you can say break. Here it is. And if you want to see the help for any command, you just write h command and then space and the whatever commands help you want to see, b or break. Okay, so as you can see, this is the help for break command, which will help you to add another breakpoints which you didn't add while executing the program, right? So we added just only one breakpoint, and now while executing the program I want to add another breakpoint somewhere in the near or next lines where I just wanted to stop. Okay, so let's go and check. So B, and where we are currently we are in the 16th line, right? So let me first step into the program. Now we are at the line number 6, and if I want to stop here, files.append path. So what is that line number? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. So if I do B and then line number 11, it will automatically add the breakpoint for the 11th line of the program. Alright, so now if I just write the C and enter, it will automatically continue and it will execute all the lines until that breakpoint. Okay, so I am entering that. As you can see, now it is stopped at files.append path, right? So there is another way of stopping somewhere using just line number, that is unt. Unt is another command which is also helpful to stop somewhere by just giving the line number. Okay, so I would like to continue here first. All right, let me clear it and run again. And if you go into this function, go next. Okay, now what is the unt command does? Basically unt command does until and then line number. Okay, if I don't give the line number, what it does, it continue and stops to the next line. All right, so let's do that. I will explain difference between unt and n. So n does the same, always tap over to the next line, but the difference between those two command without giving number to unt command, that is, if I have for loop, now let's write the n command here. So let's go n. So what it does, it goes to the next iteration. So n command will take you all the iteration of that for loop. All right, but what if you give the unt? So let's now give the unt. Still we are at the second iteration of the paths, and paths has 4 iteration now, so it will skip. Let me show you that. Unt command, enter, so it is taking you to the next line. Another enter, file append. Now as you can see, it is just a second iteration and there are still 2 iterations are remaining, and if I enter, it will take the previous command automatically while entering, and as you can see, it just skipped another 2 iterations. Not for execution was done for all those 2 remaining iterations, but it was not stopped for them. Right, so breakpoint was not there, just execution was done. And now as you can see, if you enter files, there are 4 files are there. So at that time we were on the second iteration, and if you used n command, then it was going for the next iteration for test.py. all right, so that's how you can use unt command as well. And yeah, so another use for this unt is that unt and then give the number, that is 15, which is the last line of this program. Anyways, once this get files list function will be executed, these files will be written and it will be printed in the last line. So I'll just stop until the 15th line. So as you can see now, all right, yeah, so as you can see now unt 15 is given that to, and it stopped at print files, right? So that way you can use this unt function as well. Now let me show you another help of breakpoint command, break command, that is, if you enter B and just enter, it will give you the list of breakpoints available or you have added in this debugger itself, not that one, not this one, this will not be printed. But if you have added few breakpoints after stopping somewhere in the debugger, those will be listed here. So how? Let me show you one, adding one breakpoint, that is B, and now I am just going to add one breakpoint which is going to be advanced. So how can you add a breakpoint which is advanced and condition based? So I just want to stop here in is file function, and if the path is directory. Okay, so first you have to give the file name, and what is the file name? That is test and dot. Then what is the method name? That is file. So is file. Now comma, and then what you need to do, provide the condition. So what I need to do here, so if os.path.is directory path. Okay, let me correct it. All right, so what I want to do here, that if the path is directory, then debugger should stop there. All right, so we can see more commands there, or we can execute something which we want to do. All right, so I am just entering here, and as you can see, one breakpoint is added here, right? And now let me see how many breakpoints are available now. So if you write this B and enter, you will be able to see the list of breakpoints which we have added. So for now we have added only one breakpoint, and all the details are here. Now what you can do here, you can disable this breakpoint by giving the number. So how can you do that? Just disable and then give the breakpoint number. So this is the first column is for breakpoint number for the list. So if I do this disable 1, it is saying that disable breakpoint 1, and if you see the list here, as you can see, there is fourth column that is called enable is saying no, right? So this is not enabled now. And if you want to enable again, just do it like this, enable 1, and now it is enabled. Okay, now if it is enabled, then if you continue, it will write stop there where we have added condition. Now as you can see, path which is test, and in my case it is currently directory. So that is why it is saying os.path is directory is path. So if you want to see again, just call this for just understanding that it is stopping correctly or not. All right, so as you can see, this path is directory. So that way you can stop here as well, and now go to one by one like this. All right, so one more thing I wanted to say, that how can you put watch on any variable? So you just need to write display and then path. So if you write this display path and display files, so it is displaying currently, but if you go one by one next, and if you just write display, it will display all the watch variable we have added. Those will be displayed here. So what are the values for those variables currently? If I go next again, next, and as you can see, one more thing, that whenever you write this, whenever you are at the last line of the function, it will always give you the result here, right, after arrow function. So it will show whatever you are returning. All right, so this is another thing I wanted to just convey here. Now if I write display again, here we are not displaying anything, because both of them watch were available only in the get file list function. All right, so this is, there are few commands I have explained, still there are few are remaining. So let's go into the debugger again, pass python test.py, step into this function, next, and now I want to show stack trace, how we can print the stack trace. All right, or you can say one frame. So if I go next, and inside I want to just go into inside this is file function, so I'll just step into this as, and now here I am. So if I write w, as you can see, it says it gives us stack trace. So what it does, it always explains you how this function was called, and all the stack trace will be displayed here. Now if I want to go up and down, how can we do that? So currently I am in here this line, and this is file function. So if I write u and enter, so it will take you to the caller. So who called this function? So right, so that line we are going. And if you write the variable name, sorry, path, so it will give you the value also. All right, again go up, it takes you this here. And if you write this, currently we do not have any variable argument, dynamic argument, so I'm just going to down again. So it is taking you here, as you can see in this stack trace. And if I write the D, which will take you here again, that is called frame up and down in the stack trace. So now if I write D, and now again I am here. All right, so that way you can walk through the stack trace as well. So sometimes what happens, you have started debugging somewhere and you have put one breakpoint, but if you want to see in the previous function from where we have called, what are the variables and what are the inputs are there, if you want to see, then just write the u, enter, and then you can see what are the variable values. Okay, so this is again very helpful for you. So now I am just adding C and continuing. Now yeah, one more thing is remaining, that is I'm just stepping into this. All right, so if you write L and enter, it will give you the 11 lines from, or you can say around, of the current line. So current line is get file list function, and 5 lines from above from that line and after that line. So total 11 lines will be displayed. If I write L again, it will print the next lines instead of previous 11 lines. So if I want to print always current lines, then you need to write L and then dot. Okay, see, I am doing multiple times, but still it is printing those 11 lines which I want. So it's a current 11 lines. If you write the double L, so which will print, it says full frame is long lines. Okay, so it will always print the current frame. So what is current frame? That wherever you are, so what is the scope of that line? Basically, if I am here, this files line, third line of this function, so get file list is a frame for that. So it's a scope, right? So those all lines will be printed here using this double L command. All right, so let me go through one more option, that is if I go into this list directory function using this as command, so stepping into this list directory function, now I'm here, and if I use this ll command, sorry about that, what happened, let me continue one more time. Why it is not going inside this list directory function? No worries, let me give you another example, that is file function itself. Yeah, here we can use this double L command and it will always print only function lines. So there are 2 lines only, so it will print 2 lines. Let me go inside this function. Yeah, so as you can see, it is taking me into each directory function as well. Now if I print double L, what it does, it is printing this in each directory function of the OS module. So this will be helpful when you are debugging your program and you are entering into the third-party package functions. So in that case, you might not be able to understand what is going to be the next line. So in that case, you can use this double L command and you can come to know that what are the next lines, and that way you can debug the program. So yeah, that's pretty much I have to explain or say about how to debug the program, right? So I think that's it from this video. If you have liked this video, please like and share with your friends so they can also come to know how we can debug the Python program. And yeah, if you anyone have any question, please let me know in the comment section. And also you can give me feedback of my videos. Anyways, you are doing that, and that is much helpful for me to improve my videos. So yeah, thank you very much.